Okay, get ready. I have my next special artist on the airwaves now with me, and we have had this lady on the show before. I'd like to warmly welcome Sarah Brown to my show. Welcome.
Hi, Danny. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Welcome back to the show. After all these months, where's time gone? But you have some
Um,
exciting news. You've got a new album out.
yes, I have got a new album out. It's my first album, debut album, and it's a tribute to a wonderful lady called Mahailia Jackson. And the album is called Sarah Brown Sings Mahailia Jackson. And yeah, it's been a fairly rough ride, but also a happy, beautiful ride. You know, coming out of the pandemic, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to see this through to the end because it's a happy project. I've lost a sister through the pandemic, and I just wanted to do something that was going to make me happy and hopefully make others happy.
Well, that's wonderful. You have a new album out, and I know in my previous interview we did talk at length about Mahailia Jackson, and
Yeah.
people can go back to that interview if they want to. This album, would you say it's a homage to Mahailia, your kind of own tribute to the great lady herself?
Completely, completely. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, and I fit the bill of 20 feet from stardom. I've been very comfortable standing where I where I stand. I've been very comfortable, but sometimes, when there's a conviction, when there's something inside you that you've got to do, um, uh, you've just got to do it eventually. Otherwise, you become tormented. And this project has been in me for at least 25 years. And I finally had the guts to just confront my demons, confront that imposter, and say, do you know what? There's no failure here. You're going to do it, and people will either like it or not. The point of the exercise is the question that has been asked me over the years and years is, Sarah, what inspires you? Who has inspired your voice? And the truth is, Danny, Mahalia Jackson is the main person that inspired me to sing, along with the other Rubenesque women who were part of my childhood at church. It was all about these strong characters who were fighting to get through. They were the Windrush generation. They came to this country to basically make some money and go back home to the Caribbean. And for many of them, they weren't able to make it back home because of expenses and things like that. But what I did learn from them is determination and to hold yourself strong, never give up, and just keep going forward.
That's so refreshing to hear, and it's good that history is finally people can look back and look at like the music where the roots where it's come from. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I wanted to touch on just briefly on Elvis Presley. He was in awe of Mahalia Jackson.
Yes, he was in awe of her. There's many pictures. There's a few pictures with Elvis and Mahalia Jackson holding, hugging, laughing. Elvis's childhood, similar to Mahalia, was around church. He heard those hymns being sung, and he would have heard them sung in a very spiritual way, in a very honest, pure, passionate way. And he himself did a gospel album, didn't he? He did an
Mm.
album of him, and it was absolutely. I remember listening to his album when I was a child. So yeah, um, just like Mahalia, Elvis, I suppose, eventually came back round to a part of himself that was heavily influenced through church. But I was reading the other day, and I was quite surprised by this. Mahalia Jackson has been listed as one of the artists that have crafted and shaped the pop industry, but with her first single, Move On Up. There's 500 songs that's been used to shape rock and roll and pop. And Mahalia's first hit, Move On Up, is one of those songs.
And, when you look at the charts, most people don't look before the rock and roll era, but, in the 30s, pre-war, post-war, there was so much music going on, gospel, jazz, and all sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, there was. And this album really has been inspired by those years, actually, Danny. I've tried to take from blues, the spirituals, and early jazz. So early blues. I've tried just to, there's, if you like, there's brushstrokes of that going through this album. And it's deliberate. I wanted it to be, initially, it was just going to be me and the piano player, Colin Good. But I thought, okay, let's put some upright bass and a small drum, 3-piece drum and organ. And I'm so glad I did, actually, because it's turned into something so fun. It's just fun. Not that, and the thing that's wonderful about this is the song choice lends itself to just piano and voice. So if I want to just go somewhere and stand up and sing these songs with piano, I can. But I can't pretend it's a massive treat with the upright bass and organ and drum, But yeah, it's been influenced by 20s, 30s and 40s, definitely.
And just want to touch on a few tracks. Let's go with Summertime. I've listened to it, and it's one of the most faithful renditions that I've heard. You really have put your own interpretation on that song.
Yeah, I absolutely. That song was the last song but one, that we recorded at Abbey Road Studio. We had 2 days in which to try and get as many songs done as possible for this album. And because it was goodwill that allowed us to record at Abbey Road Studio, it wasn't my pockets. And I'll tell you, it was the 2 days of recording were fraught with disagreements, happiness, tears, doubt, confidence, just an array of emotions. And on this particular day, there was a bit of tension in the studio, as you can imagine, because we all want to get it done and we want to get it done professionally. And but there was a disagreement about how to record the body of work. And with it being heated, I almost lost the musicians. They almost all decided they were going to go home because they couldn't agree. And we managed to salvage the day. And with a bit of tension, I've got to say, there was a bit of tension. We got back into the studio and we recorded this. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but I think it's my favorite one. In fact, I'm going to say confidently, Summertime is my favorite. We just let ourselves go. We were raw, we were exhausted, and we didn't have much time, and we just let ourselves go. And it's such a lesson that, you sometimes hang around waiting for perfection to slap you around the face. And often perfection doesn't look the way that you would perceive it to look. I think this album is perfect in its rawness. And I think that Summertime has been recorded without the drummer, but it's one of the best, if not the best track on the entire album. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. And I'm really pleased that you've also enjoyed it, and you're listing it as one of yours.
I would say it's exemplary. The musicianship and your vocals. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's very honest. It's authentic, and that's what this project really, Danny, is all about. And when we come to perform it, it's going to be the same thing. It's not about me trying to be famous. It's about me facing my fear and saying and accepting, Sarah, you've got something to say here. People want to know who has influenced your voice. Go out there and show them and do it in a song. And at the same time, kill some demons. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
And let's touch on one other track. Let's go with Joshua. That has a blues boogie wooginess to it.
Totally that, Danny. And I'm so glad that you hear it, because absolutely, when I say I've gone back here, and the next tribute that I do is to another great singer, and I intend to sort of capture the early stages again of rock and roll and pop. Certainly early stages of rock and roll, forget pop, just early stages of rock and roll and what that entails, which is the boogie woogie and a bit of blues. Yeah, Joshua, I wanted to capture that. At first, I wasn't convinced. I thought, I'm not sure that we've really captured it 100%. But here we are, 2 years on from recording it, and you're saying you can hear the boogie woogie. So I've done something right. It was deliberate. We wanted to capture it, and we have captured it. Because this album, actually, I don't know if I said it to you the first time, but when Mahailia was 14, 15, 16, 17, I'm imagining that she knew that she had this wonderful voice, and she also knew that she needed to get out of where she was living. Surrounding her would have been, the 20s and 30s and those glamorous looking women, and the boogie woogie was a part of that. And so the reason why I've wanted to incorporate this in the backdrop to Mahailia Jackson's tribute is that I'm suggesting that she sometimes fantasized about being in a band that was playing the boogie woogie, and playing the jazz and playing the blues. That's what I'm saying. So I'm glad that you can feel it, and I'm glad that there's enough of it in there for you to hear. Yeah, Sarah, you've captured a bit of the boogie woogie. It's going to be a fun night. I'm telling you now, it's going to be a fun night to hear this album live.
Brilliant. Let's just go with one more question. Has music always been remedial for you, like curative, and to help others who are going through challenges in their life?
Yes, it's a way for me. Singing has been a way for me from as early as I can remember singing, of telling a story, if that's what you mean. Yes, I feel that I'm a storyteller in song. I'm a chameleon. I like to dress up. I like to get into character. And, whenever I can, I do. And so singing does take me on a journey. It allows me to be imaginative, creative. I go into a place of fantasy, and I try to bring the audience along with me. Sometimes I do it and sometimes I'm not successful. But yeah, with this album, for instance, when I perform it live, I'm hoping that, I will be able to transport the audience back to the 20s, 30s and 40s. And they will really get that sense and feeling that they're in a different time, and it's a much earlier time. It's a time where, it's not about trying to perfect the voice and putting your voice through different machines to make it sound in tune, but it's a time where you just express, you bellow, you maybe sing softly, or you bellow, or you just play and believe that that note is going to work right with what Sarah's singing. That's what I intend to achieve from this album.
Well, Sarah Brown, thanks for joining me on my show here in the UK, Danny, on my radio show, the syndicated show.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Dan.
I could talk all day. It's so interesting, fascinating, but we'll hopefully connect in the near future again, and the very best with this album.
Thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Okay, take care.